Welcome back to your favorite channel, the one place where the truth behind Roloff Farms comes to light. Today we're breaking a story so explosive it could shatter the Roloff family's legacy forever. After weeks of investigation, insider reports, and new evidence, we've uncovered what appears to be a calculated scheme. One so manipulative it redefines everything we thought we knew about little people, big world. Behind the wholesome facade of family, faith, and farm life lies something far more sinister, a web of deceit spun from within. At the center is a manufactured crisis, a fake stalker, and a ruthless power play designed to destroy reputations and control the narrative. This isn't just drama, it's personal betrayal. What's happening on Roloff Farms isn't a TV storyline. It's a real-life scandal with consequences that could tear the family apart. The cameras captured smiles, but what they didn't show and what we're about to reveal is the darkness behind them. The truth is coming, and it changes everything. Before we dive into the insider reports rocking the Roloff world, do me a favor. Hit the like button, subscribe to, and ring the notification bell. You won't want to miss a single second. Viewers have felt the stress on Roloff Farms for months, even years. Conflicts with Zach and Jeremy and the sale of the property's north side aren't the only issues. There are rumors of a deeper, more harmful power struggle happening inside the large house. According to family sources, Matt Roloff and Karen Chandler are the main players. Their relationship has been portrayed as a solid alliance, a second chance at love for Matt. But sources tell a different story. They describe Karen as increasingly concerned about her role and influence, not just on the farm, but in Matt's life. This tension, insiders say, is fueled by Amy Roloff's happiness. Since marrying Chris Merrick, Amy has reached a new level of joy and independence. She has a life totally separate from Matt on the property, and she's thriving. Karen, according to insiders, has been disturbed by this. Why? Because for nearly a decade, Karen's identity was tied to Matt and the farm. She depended on him for her job and her sense of belonging. She doesn't share the children's bond or the experience of building the farm from scratch. Sources say Karen sensed her foundation beginning to crumble as Matt thought about his legacy. The alleged plot begins here, a methodical plan driven by fear. Fear of losing control, fear of being replaced, and fear that Matt would reconcile with Amy and the rest of the family as he aged. Karen, presented publicly as clever and calculating, allegedly fabricated a crisis and a shared enemy to make Matt depend entirely on her. She needed to turn Amy, or at least Amy's idea, into a threat to achieve this. The plan reportedly began subtly. It started with casual remarks. Someone familiar with their private discussions said Karen would plant seeds of worry in Matt's mind. "Matt, did you see that car?" she might ask on the porch. The one driving by slowly. Matt would dismiss it, of course. Then a few days later, that car is back. Out of nothing, she was weaving a story of being watched. Then came veiled accusations. Karen allegedly complained about feeling insecure on the large, remote property. She reportedly said to Matt, in a voice loaded with fake vulnerability, "I don't know, honey. Everything feels different since the farm sale drama. I feel like I'm being targeted." When Matt pressed her about who might attack her, she reportedly said, "It's probably one of Amy's fans who hates me. You know their online behavior. They blame me for the family breaking apart." It was a brilliant tactic. She never accused Amy directly, but she connected Amy's world to the imagined threat. Matt was made to feel protective of Karen against a villain tied to his past. Sources say Karen created a damsel in distress scenario, making Matt the hero. The escalation reportedly came when words weren't enough. Karen needed proof to make the threat feel real. According to the investigation, she, or someone acting for her, created anonymous social media accounts, sending her self-threatening DMs. The messages were psychological, not violent. "We're watching you. Roloff Farms isn't for you. Amy is the real queen of the farm. The clock is ticking." Each message was meant to appear from an obsessed fan. Insiders say Karen's performance was Oscar-worthy. Every new message was met with fake concern. She would show Matt her phone, hands shaking. "Look, another one, Matt. This is becoming serious." Every message Karen sent was another brick in the wall she was building between Amy and Matt. Matt wouldn't recognize the messages as fake. He would see them as a direct attack on the person he loved, supposedly coming from dangerous fans of his ex-wife. According to reports, Matt's frustration and anger grew daily. He felt powerless, and his rage was aimed at the anonymous stalker, and by extension at Amy, whom he believed he was protecting. Digital threats alone weren't enough for Karen. She reportedly knew she needed to escalate the situation physically. Their home's safety had to appear compromised. The harassment began subtly. Karen allegedly discovered one morning that a tire on her car was completely flat, deflated but not slashed, which would have been too violent and likely involved the police. The tire was positioned right on the valve cap. It was a small, inconvenient act meant to create unease. She showed it to Matt as a clear escalation. Matt, they're here. The property is where they are. My things are being touched. A week later, a more dramatic message appeared. It was placed behind a flower pot on the large house's veranda. Made from magazine cutouts of letters, it read, "Get off her land." The horror was meant to suggest Amy. Matt's protective instincts kicked in. He was angry, not just frustrated. Someone had violated his home and was threatening Karen. The next act was personal. Karen adored her rose bushes, often showing them off on the show. One afternoon, she screamed from the garden. Matt rushed outside to find one of her favorite rose bushes crushed, its branches snapped and flowers strewn. This was the final straw. The stalker had escalated from minor property damage and online harassment to destroying something Karen valued. It was a clear, focused, and intensifying intimidation campaign. According to sources, Karen carefully planned each incident to make it appear as if Amy's fans were responsible. Karen reportedly played the victim role flawlessly. She acted jittery, watchful, and anxious, often saying she had trouble sleeping and that every sound at night made her heart race. Matt became absorbed in the low-level fear she was fostering. He felt responsible for keeping her safe, and his anger at the supposed stalker grew. According to sources, Matt began avoiding Amy, worried that contact might provoke further harassment from her fans. Karen's plan was working. He was emotionally dependent on her and isolated from Amy, making Karen the center of his world, the one he needed to protect at all costs. Once Matt was convinced of the stalker's presence, Karen allegedly prepared her trump card, physical proof linking the threat to Amy and Chris's area. After the rose bush incident, Karen staged a dramatic search in the garden, pretending to look for footprints. She paused, knelt at the edge, and then gasped, "Oh my God, Matt, come look at this." She held a small keychain, branded from a local bakery 2 blocks from Amy and Chris's Hillsborough home, a place Amy had shared on social media. She handed it to Matt in a trembling voice. "Matt, I don't want to cause trouble, but you realize this, don't you? It's from the tiny cupcake shop near their home." The implication was clear. The stalker wasn't a random fan. It was someone physically close to Amy and Chris. Karen whispered, "What if it's someone they know? What if a friend thinks they're helping Amy by harming me?" She didn't accuse Amy outright, but suggested Amy's influence was indirectly creating danger. Matt was overwhelmed. The threat seemed close, personal, and connected to Amy's life. He imagined betrayal, wondering if Amy and Chris knew something and were doing nothing. The keychain became the focal point of the whole story, a symbol of treachery and proof of a genuine, focused threat, all designed to remove Amy from Matt's life. The farm environment became intolerable. Matt grew suspicious, watching every passing car, always on edge. He couldn't discuss the situation with his kids, unable to explain that he believed Karen was being threatened by someone in Amy's circle. He was isolated, exactly as Karen intended, terrified, angry, and emotionally reliant on her. Karen had created the perfect storm. Matt united with her against an external enemy, a rift growing between him and Amy that could destroy family harmony. Karen's plan seemed foolproof, but she underestimated Matt's natural inclination to protect and solve problems. Fear wasn't something he would accept quietly. At the height of his paranoia, Matt decided to take control. He planned to uncover the stalker's identity using technology, rather than confronting Amy directly. He intended to secure Roloff Farms, but his actions unknowingly set the stage for an unexpected revelation, a betrayal much closer to home than he imagined. What he thought was a devoted fan turned out to be something else entirely. Matt's determination to find the truth had finally been triggered, and the consequences would be shocking. Matt Roloff spent nights pacing the large house, staring at his computer screen. Every notification, every ping from his security system, every email from Karen made his heart race. He had invested in cameras, motion sensors, and even drones to monitor the property. He was determined to catch the stalker, or whoever had been behind this campaign of fear. Karen, meanwhile, maintained her act perfectly. She was the anxious partner, shaking and sighing at every little noise. Matt, in his mind, was her protector and her hero. The tension in the house became unbearable. According to insiders, the children noticed the change in their father. Matt had grown distant, distracted, and obsessed. Conversations that used to be simple and warm were now dominated by surveillance, fear, and whispered warnings. Then the breakthrough came. Matt had been reviewing camera footage late one night, cross-checking timestamps with Karen's reports of sightings and strange activity. That's when he saw it. A brief flash of movement near the veranda the day the keychain appeared. He rewound the footage, watching frame by frame. A shadowy figure bent near the flower pot, placing something down. The camera's angle didn't reveal a clear face, but the build, the height, the way they moved, Matt knew instinctively that this was no outsider. The tension reached its peak the following morning. Karen woke him, feigning panic. "Matt, I heard something in the garden." "They're back." Matt grabbed the security monitor and raced outside, only to find no one. He returned to the house, agitated but focused. He knew the stalker wasn't some random fan. It had to be someone close, someone with access, someone who could move around the property without being noticed. The breakthrough revealed a shocking truth. As Matt dug deeper into digital footprints, IP addresses, and social media traces, everything pointed to one location. Not an external fan, not some random stranger, but inside the household. All the anonymous messages, all the minor vandalism, even the keychain, every clue led back to Karen herself. The realization was catastrophic. Matt felt betrayed, shocked, and enraged. Everything he had done, the nights of anxiety, the obsessive surveillance, the avoidance of his family, was the result of a manipulation orchestrated by the person he trusted most. Karen had built an entire narrative of fear, a meticulously planned campaign to isolate him and make him dependent. Every tear, every trembling hand, every fearful whisper had been a performance. Sources say Matt confronted Karen in a dramatic scene captured off camera. According to insiders, he laid out the evidence point by point. The IP addresses, the timestamps, the messages, the staged incidents in the garden. Karen reportedly tried to deflect, to cry, to say it wasn't what it seemed, but Matt didn't waver. The truth was undeniable. The fallout was immediate. Matt reportedly cut off Karen from access to the house and the farm's operations. She was no longer trusted, no longer the partner in danger she had portrayed. Family meetings were called to explain the situation, and the children were briefed in age-appropriate ways about the deception. According to sources, the revelation rocked everyone to the core. For years, Karen had positioned herself as a trusted figure in Matt's life, someone who shared his vision for the farm and his personal life. The betrayal ran deeper than anyone could have imagined. Amy and Chris, when informed, were reportedly stunned but unsurprised. Sources say Amy had always suspected tension and manipulation behind the scenes, but never imagined it had escalated to this level. The keychain incident, the rose bush, the anonymous threats, everything had been fabricated to create conflict between her and Matt. The scandal didn't stay private for long. Motion 24's exclusive sources confirmed that discussions about exposure began immediately after Matt discovered the truth. The story, insiders say, couldn't stay behind closed doors, given the scope of the deception and the potential consequences for the family, the farm, and even the network. In the aftermath, Matt reportedly focused on rebuilding trust with his children and Amy. Sources reveal a period of intense introspection as he worked to separate himself from the web of lies Karen had spun. Security protocols remained in place, but now the emphasis was on clarity and transparency rather than fear and paranoia. Meanwhile, Karen's position became precarious. Insiders say she attempted to regain influence through charm and manipulation, but Matt was resolute. The evidence against her was too strong, and her credibility had been irreparably damaged. Social media began picking up on rumors and leaks, with fans speculating about conflicts, betrayals, and hidden dramas at Roloff Farms. Karen's public persona, a loving partner and pillar of support, was quickly undermined by the revelation of her actions. The psychological impact on Matt and the family was profound. For months, according to sources, Matt struggled to reconcile the image of the partner he had trusted with the reality of her manipulation. The isolation and anxiety Karen had engineered had left deep scars. But sources also highlight Matt's resilience. Rather than retreating into anger, he reportedly committed to transparency, ensuring the family and the public understood the truth. Amy, in particular, took a cautious but strong stance. While shocked by the manipulation, she reportedly worked closely with Matt to protect the family and maintain boundaries. The couple reportedly held private discussions about the farm, security, and how to ensure no one could exploit their relationships again. Chris Merrick, Amy's husband, supported her fully, reinforcing the idea that boundaries and personal agency were paramount. Motion 24 sources indicate that the scandal also affected production and public perception. The cameras that had once captured only wholesome family moments were now poised to record real-life consequences of manipulation, betrayal, and deception. Viewers, previously captivated by idyllic farm life, began to question everything they had seen on screen. What was real? What was staged? According to insiders, the network began planning how to handle the narrative, balancing transparency with the potential fallout. Legal experts consulted by sources suggest the case had far-reaching implications. The alleged manipulation, while personal, could constitute fraud, psychological abuse, and possibly harassment. While no formal charges were reported publicly at the time, the revelations could lead to civil action or further investigation. Matt, sources say, was advised to maintain meticulous documentation of all interactions with Karen going forward. The key takeaway insiders emphasize is that the Roloff family has emerged stronger in many ways. The deception exposed deep vulnerabilities, but also forced Matt, Amy, and the children to confront difficult truths, reevaluate trust, and strengthen boundaries. What Karen intended as a campaign to isolate and control Matt ultimately failed, leaving her influence shattered and the family more united. According to sources, Matt Roloff now operates with heightened vigilance, a renewed sense of clarity, and an understanding of how fragile trust can be. Amy's life, separate from the farm and filled with her own success and happiness, stands as a contrast to the manipulation she endured indirectly. Together, they have navigated a crisis that could have permanently divided them, instead transforming it into a lesson in resilience and awareness. The farm itself remains operational, but with new security measures and stricter access controls. Cameras, digital monitoring, and checks on visitors are standard now. Sources say the family's private interactions, previously vulnerable to manipulation, are handled with caution and care. Finally, insiders report that the aftermath has prompted reflection among fans and viewers. The wholesome image of Roloff Farms, carefully curated for years, now sits alongside the reality of human complexity, deception, and emotional manipulation. The story serves as a cautionary tale. Even in the most idyllic settings, personal ambition, jealousy, and control can create dramatic, real-world consequences. As Matt and Amy move forward, sources stress that the focus is on transparency, family unity, and rebuilding trust. The lessons of this scandal, betrayal, manipulation, and the dangers of blind trust are not forgotten. Motion 24 insiders describe the Roloff family as cautiously optimistic, aware of the past but determined not to allow it to define their future. Matt's vigilance, Amy's independence, and the children's growing awareness of family dynamics are now the pillars that keep Roloff Farms functioning and the cameras rolling. The truth, as Motion 24 reports, is out, and the story of deception, fear, and ultimate revelation will forever redefine what it means to live, work, and trust on Roloff Farms. The public reaction was immediate. Once Motion 24 broke the story, social media exploded. Fans who had long adored the wholesome Roloff family were stunned. Tweets, posts, and videos speculated about the scale of the deception, questioning what they had seen on reality TV for years. The hashtag Roloff scandal trended nationally, drawing attention not just to Karen's manipulation, but to the intense psychological